You know, sometimes you hear a story that sits right on the edge, where absolute bone-chilling terror meets the most profound kind of faith. This is one of those stories. It's a journey that starts with simple devotion, takes a terrifying turn on a pitch-black highway, and ends with a miracle that, well, it pretty much defies any logical explanation. This isn't just a ghost story. It's about what happens when a soul in its darkest moment cries out for help. "Ladli Dee, save me!" Imagine that, your very last words, screamed into the darkness as some formless horror is rushing right at you. For a young woman named Kajal, this was her reality. This was her final prayer. But to really feel the terror of that moment, we have to go back. We have to see how she got there. So, first things first, let's talk about our main character, Kajal. Because to get why what happened to her was so horrifying, you really have to understand the incredible power of her faith. For her, this wasn't just, a belief. It was a real, living, breathing relationship. See, Kajal's whole life, growing up in Agra, was steeped in faith. Her family was very devout. But for her, it was personal. The deity Radharani wasn't some distant god. She was Ladli Dee, her beloved older sister. Kajal genuinely felt this protective presence with her all the time. And this deep personal bond led her to do something pretty remarkable. Every single month, she'd get on her scooter, alone, late at night, and ride all the way to Vrindavan. Why? Just to see Premanand Baba's procession at 2 in the morning. It was this act of pure, just unwavering faith. But, as you can probably imagine, this late-night ritual was a huge source of anxiety for her family. And on one particular night, it really seemed like the universe itself was trying to scream a warning at her. Her family was always begging her, "Kajal, please, it's so late, it's just not safe. At least get a hotel room for the night." But in her mind, the logic was crystal clear. She was going to see her divine family, right? So what could possibly happen to her? She felt completely invincible, like she was wrapped in this protective bubble by her Ladli Dee. So on this one night in April, she gets this sudden, powerful urge to go. She just has to go to Vrindavan. She gets there, and while she's waiting for the 2 a.m. procession, she kind of dozes off. And that's when she has this dream. She's in this space of just total pitch-black darkness. And then this voice, a voice from nowhere, gives her this crystal clear warning. "Go away. Don't stay today. Leave now." She jolted awake, super startled, but just brushed it off, just her mind playing tricks on her. A mistake that would turn out to be a really big one. After the procession, she started to feel this weird unease, a strange sense of urgency to just get home. So she got on her scooter and headed back for Agra. And this is where her pilgrimage of faith turns into a desperate fight to survive. So picture this. You're on a highway that should be buzzing with trucks and cars, but tonight, it is dead silent. Completely deserted. Not a single vehicle in sight. It's just Kajal, the sound of her scooter, and the dark. And then suddenly, that one sound stops. Her scooter just dies, plunging her into this heavy, unnerving silence. And just like that, her situation goes from bad to catastrophic. The scooter has plenty of fuel, but it just will not start. She tries her phone, nothing. Her data plan had literally expired at the stroke of midnight. She was totally cut off. Her only choice? Start pushing this heavy scooter. And after 2 kilometers of just exhausting effort, this deep gut feeling just washes over her. This place is dangerous. And her gut was absolutely right. First, she just feels it, this chilling presence walking right next to her. And this was not the feeling of her Ladli Dee. This was pure terror. Then this freezing cold gust of wind just rushes past her, lifting her hair up. She starts walking faster, and that's when it happens. Her hair is yanked, hard, from behind. She screams, "Who's there?" But there's no one. And as she tries to run, bam! A sharp, brutal blow hits the back of her head, and she just goes down, crashing to the pavement with the scooter on top of her leg. So there she is, lying on the ground in pain and just completely terrified, when a figure slowly walks out from a dark path on the side of the road. But this was no friendly stranger coming to help. This was something else. Let me tell you about this man who walked up to her. He was terrifying. He had this long, matted black hair. He was dressed head to toe in black, and he had these really strange, big white necklaces on. But his eyes are what froze her in place. They were piercing red. And he just walked towards her, completely silent, with this cold, serious look on his face. Kajal is desperate at this point. She's begging him for help. But the man says nothing. He just lifts the scooter off her leg. She asks if there's a garage anywhere nearby, and he doesn't speak. He just raises his hand and points down that same dark, narrow path he came from. What do? She's desperate. So against her better judgment, she decides to trust him and starts pushing her scooter after this silent stranger deeper into the dark. So he leads her about 1.5 kilometers down this path to what looks like an old, rundown garage. It's all boarded up. Kajal turns to ask him if he knows the owner, but he's gone. Just vanished. No sound, no footsteps, nothing. He had completely disappeared into thin air. And now she was totally alone, in a place even more remote than the highway. And that's when this wave of absolute horror just crashes over her. She realized she'd been tricked, led into a trap. Her heart is just pounding in her chest, and she spins the scooter around and starts pushing it back towards the main road as fast as she possibly can. But she didn't get very far. That feeling, that chilling presence, it was back. And then another vicious blow to her head. She hit the ground hard. All her strength was gone. She was completely at the mercy of whatever this invisible, evil thing was. And as she's lying there helpless, it finally decides to show itself. Kind of. A cloud of pure black smoke just materializes out of nowhere and starts rushing directly towards her face. In that instant, she knew. This was it. She was about to die. So with every last bit of energy she had, with all the faith that had fueled all of those journeys, she screamed the one name she believed could save her. Laudly Dee, save me! The black smoke touched her face, and everything went dark. But that wasn't the end. Right there, when all hope was completely gone, that desperate prayer screamed into the void, it was answered, and in the most incredible way imaginable. Kajal opened her eyes. The terrifying presence was gone. And kneeling beside her were the kind faces of a man and a woman who looked like they were from a nearby village. They told her they had found her unconscious, they gave her some water, they comforted her, and they just listened as she told them the whole horrifying story. Now, after she finished her story, the man walked over to her scooter. Remember, this is the same scooter she had tried to start dozens of times with no luck. He just gives it one single calm kick, and the engine just roared to life. Instantly. It was a small thing, but it was an absolute, undeniable miracle. The couple walked with her all the way back to the main highway. Kajal was so relieved and so grateful. She thanked them over and over, got on her scooter, and drove home, shaken to her core, but safe. Her family was, of course, terrified and angry, but mostly just glad she was alive. But the most amazing part of her story, that was still to come. That night, as she was sleeping, the whole ordeal replayed itself in a dream. She saw the attack, she saw herself crying for help, she saw herself being found on the side of that dark path. But in the dream, when she looked up at the faces of that kind village couple who saved her, she saw them for who they really were. It wasn't just a village couple. It was Radha and Krishna themselves, who had come in human form to answer her call. Kajal wanted her story told for a reason, to remind us that, yeah, there is real darkness and negativity in the world, but there is also a light, a protective power that is just as real. Her story leaves us all with a pretty profound question to think about. When a soul calls out with true, absolute faith, what force of darkness could ever hope to stand against it?